5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We on? We live?
We're not live.
We're not live, but we're on. Are you gonna come over here too?
He's on the
No, I
camera.
gotta
You got
take
the
my
camera
hand.
set up.
Oh, I missed it. What's up, everybody? Dana George here. NMLS number 1708296. I am here at the Bat Cave, Hartford Funding, our office in here with my boy Carlito, anti-coaching Carlito, and then my boy Matt Donohue from high school. A lot of times when we go to high school, you just split apart. You don't get to see anyone anymore.
Yes, sir.
Now that really did happen with us for a little bit. Then we caught up, we hung out, we got busy again. We hung out, we got busy again, and then we were hanging out one day, and I told you something I do, and you made fun of me for it.
Yes.
Just how you laughing right now. A lot of people make fun of me for it. Carlos will put his 2 cents in it, which we're gonna throw away because we don't care what he has to say, right, Carlos?
That's right.
But no, all serious note, I don't believe in it. So it's coaching. A lot of people say they don't believe in it, but yet you have like the Phil Jacksons in the world and other top coaches out there. Everyone's like, well, that's for sports. But there are people out there that use coaching regularly, whether it be for making money, for their business, for themselves to get better. I chose coaching. Actually, it was by accident. I was at a networking event, meeting other people, and I actually ran into a coach there. Oh, I do coach. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yes.
Oh boy, here we go. I listened to it. But it definitely made a big difference for me because when you're going through life, you're going down a straight path. Sometimes you don't look left, sometimes you look right. You're right there. And you're in it. You're in it, so you don't know what is going on, right? But then sometimes you need that outside force to help you out. So, long story short, I told Matt about coaching. He was laughing. He was laughing about it, smirking a little bit. He didn't want to laugh in my face. He didn't do it like what he just did now. But
I was trying to be respectful.
yeah, but it made a difference for me, and I'll get into it what it has done for me. But Matt, it was summer. It was during my son's birthday party. You came over, we were speaking about it. You kind of giggled about it. And how did you get into coaching?
Well, I was a lot like most people. I thought coaching was stupid. I thought it was kind of like a ripoff. I thought it was kind of like a cult-like, everything was like self-help, new ageism. So I was really against it. I was like, this is just a waste of money. And then I did snicker behind your back a little bit, and then about a year later, our other mutual friend, Joe, Joe Winter, he said he started going to see a coach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when Joe did it, I was like, okay, like that's cool. Like I'm like, I guess DJ got him. You know what I'm saying?
Basically, what he's saying is, I'm here, Joe is here. So what I had to say meant nothing. But when Joe, Mr. Winter, hopefully you get to see this, you're his idol. So I'm trying to get my level right up to your Joe, but
yeah, I mean I'm a year older and about a foot taller, but I always looked up to Joe.
2 feet taller.
Yeah, maybe 2 feet. But so Joe, he did a few sessions, and I saw like the impact it had on him. I saw the stuff he was talking about. It was like in a way I've never seen Joe before. You know what I'm saying? I think when you did it, I already kind of knew your personality. You're so mellow. Like it's just.
We'll get
who
that.
you are.
We'll
You know what I'm saying?
definitely
So it wasn't like, oh, maybe, DJ just, took an edible, you know what I'm saying, before we got together. Or you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just DJ being DJ, like nice and calm and like low key. But with Joe, like I saw like a noticeable, like Joe's always like operating, so I guess like driven, you know what I'm saying, like such a motor. And when I saw him, like the way he was breaking it down, I was like, wow, this is like for real. And then he introduced me to his coach.
No, would you say that it's the amount of energy that he's outputting?
What do you mean? Oh yeah. The energy. And I just saw the way he was channeling it, the way he was kind of handling it differently. And I was like, all right, let me see what this is about. And he introduced me to his coach, Giovanna Love Prince. She's gonna be, excited to hear this. She'd be real proud of me. And then she, just me with her kind of changed a lot of things for me.
It's funny that you said like mellow. Like a lot of people say that I'm mellow, but then there's people that are a little bit closer to me would say is like, you need to calm your ass down, because it was just like, so I was probably opposite of Joe. Joe on the outside was probably let's go, but for me on the inside, that's how I was, and it made a big difference for me. So sometimes you are a product of your environment. So this is like a real touchy subject for me. So like you're a product of the environment, and I will, when Matt was over my house for my son's birthday, we were talking about parenting, and I was like, "Oh, Matt, you're soft," and he was like, "Maybe you should calm down a little bit." But I was a product of my environment when it came to parenting. I still, I love my parents, but sometimes you're in a certain environment, you learn it, you pass it down.
Yes.
And I found out that that's not something I should have been passing down. And I was on the phone with my coach, not taking it serious, by the way. And my son came into the room, did something, and I flipped out. And so a lot of people see me as a mellow. That coach saw what was boiling inside of me. And the reason I'm studying so much because it is emotional for me to go over it. So that has been like the biggest change for me. So when people say life coaching is this and life coaching is that, I know what it has done for me, and I am forever grateful for it, because the path I was going down. Now, if everyone, like a lot of people don't know me, is like I didn't do drugs, I didn't do this, I wasn't gonna end up going to jail, but there was a path that I probably would have went down that I didn't like as a parent, and that is being like fully transparent, to where like you could see pictures years ago on Facebook. It's like, oh my God, it's so great, but I wasn't probably the best to where I should have been, and I've definitely made a change. I made a change in that, to where it was like, be calm. They are kids, and they love you, and the stuff that they see now, they're gonna take it as they get older, and that's pretty much what happened to me as well. So I definitely took coaching seriously, and I still do, and I do recommend it to me. Now, I don't go spewing it out and tell everyone to do this. We just had a conversation talking about it. But for you, if you feel like being transparent and being open about it, what did coaching make a change for you? Because there were some things that you and I were speaking about, and I was like, yo, I don't know if you want to get into it, because it is a little personal, but what would you say a change or two really helped?
So I think in a lot of ways, I could relate to your story. I think in a lot of ways, me and you always presented as calm, and inside, there's always kind of like an internal war going on. And I think some of my biggest takeaways with Giovanna in our sessions was, number one, you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. Mm-hmm. And I realized for a long time I was like a people pleaser. You know what I'm saying? So.
Agreed.
You didn't have to agree that loudly. You could agree like internally,
well,
DJ.
I agreed because I feel the same way.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you just co-signed.
No,
Matt, you were. You know what I'm saying? So being a people pleaser, I didn't realize it. So I thought I was doing nice things. Like I would go out of my way to do nice things for people. And I thought that was like a badge of honor. Like, yo, I'm low key. Like I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? And I was always a big believer too, there's a verse in the Bible, and I don't want to get religious, but, it's like when you give with your right hand, your left hand shouldn't know what your right hand is giving. You know what I'm saying? So I used to do all these kind of good deeds, and then on top of that, I wouldn't tell nobody about it. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm really the man, but my identity was kind of based on what I was doing for other people. Mm-hmm. And, another aspect of that I struggled with was like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Because I'd be around different people, and I kind of take on like that persona of who they expect me to be.
Yeah. Just
because I want to fit in. So working with Giovanna, my first session, she did like this amazing kind of like mental journey. Like we were going through like woods and stuff, and there was like bears involved, and then like my dead grandma appeared, and it sounds like crazy, because like Joe, when my friend Joe told me about this, I'm like, all right, Joe, like. Joe's,
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it out loud, but, so I thought Joe was just, out there. And then when I experienced it, I was like, yo, like, this is crazy. Like, she was able to connect me, like, to myself, kind of like my 7-year-old self. And we determined, like, 7 years old was the last time I was really, truly, like, happy. Mm-hmm. We identified some of my core values that I had at 7. And then like by 8 or 9, like I was a different person. So something happened in that gap. And in that gap, I learned a lot of coping mechanisms that were unhealthy. And that kind of shut me down. Like I'm not, functioning as I should. I was a facade, really.
So being vulnerable, being open-minded, and not just following the narrative of what you heard about coaching or thought you heard about coaching, you think has made a difference for you?
It's made like a tremendous difference to me. Like you know how I was a year ago, man. There's no way I'd be putting out videos or content on Instagram. Like even doing this podcast, like I'm a little nervous, man. I'm shifty a little bit. I know I'm saying, I'm saying a lot. That's like my fella. I'm a teacher. I say it to my students sometimes when, you know what I'm saying? So just taking risks. And that's another big thing I learned from Giovanna. Shout out to Love Prince. Go check her out. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because everything you want is right outside your comfort zone. So if you want to get to that new place, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. So you might as well get uncomfortable you might as well get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. Carlos, since you have the camera on you.
I do. Yeah, I have a camera on me. I don't have it's going to sound a little echoey, so I apologize to everybody. But I'm listening to you guys, and what I hear a lot of is similar to what I would call therapy, which is fine because you don't have to study therapy to kind of relate to people. And what I'm hearing is you're talking to people who can relate to you and have maybe grown past whatever phase, for lack of better words, that could be. But there's a lot of growth that I'm hearing, which is fantastic, right? Because that's what life is. It's a lot of growth. But one of the things that in the path of being a human being that you have to get comfortable with is, one, being comfortable with failure. Two, realizing that failure is not a failure of just business, but a failure of just being a human. Sometimes we fail our kids. Sometimes we fail mom and dad. Sometimes we fail just anything that may have an expectation. One thing that I learned is to let go of expectation. Expectation is just like this ominous pressure that we give ourselves because nobody really is giving it. We just believe that they are, and then we just coop it up inside. And there's expectation is just this evil thing that draws us down and pulls out energy. But in terms of coaching, for me, coaching is a lot of, usually I hear people doing coaching or listening to coaching outside of life coaching when it comes down to business. And hopefully getting resources and advice that helps you create a path towards a form of success. And sometimes, so I'm the devil's advocate. I'm supposed to be the guy who's anti-coaching. So
Not supposed to.
well, no. I mean, I was like you said earlier. Anti-coaching. My biggest thing was there's a lot of people talking as coaches, and me having whatever experience I have at this point in time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not even right. And that's my concern when it comes to coaching. I know there's some coaches that go through some education process and they get some certification of coaching, which is good. At least, there's something. Because the problem with some coaches is accountability. Now, most coaches are great. Most coaches want you to be better and stuff like that. Some coaches are just trying to be coaches to see if they can make money out of you. So that's my 2 cents in terms of the negativity. But in respect for someone trying to look for someone else to help you grow, I think that's an added benefit. And there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different people you can go to for that. Me, I'm more of a person who likes to pursue a mentor. Someone that have gone through that path, and now they're like, look, my path has led me to certain successes, yet it does not mean that if you follow their path or do exactly what they do, you're gonna succeed. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. Some people just buy a ton of business books and think that if they follow the step-by-step guide, you're gonna be like, yay, I win.
Well, I was saying not to interrupt, but I'm going to interrupt. But I think
That's a life
what
coaching, by the way. You wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that 2 years ago.
What you just said is very important. There's a couple things, is especially the last part of, if someone sets a path and says you don't follow it, and you feel like you're going to stray off and you're not going to succeed. I think that's very important, and I think that shows the type of person, mentor, coach, whoever you speak to, leader, is that it's not a set path. You know what I mean? Like, you might want to go down that path, but all three of us are different. And I think a great coach or great leader or great mentor will lead you down the right path and let you grow on your own as well to figure it out, but they're gonna reel you back in. So, for example, with my coach, and what you said is crazy, because when I first got into coaching, I felt that if I didn't follow the exact line, that I was going to be a failure. And I was afraid to even express that. So what ended up happening is that, like, I got discouraged until I opened up and admitted to my coach, is like, if I don't follow this exact thing, like, what's gonna happen? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, it's your life. We're here to work together and to help you, to help you out. And I think that's what a lot of people, and it's funny that you said that, like, maybe more people think that as well. And, like, even for me, like, I feel like if I don't follow the path of certain people when it even comes to business, and then I realized I was like, I can't follow that exact path because I'm not that person. I am not them. And you try so hard to do what they do, but it's like, you really cannot be that person. You have to be the best version of yourself and grow from there.
Absolutely. It's hard to be authentic and try to be somebody else.
Yes.
And trying to follow their path. Because it's inauthentic at that point.
And I think that was something I was battling, because you want to be real, but you're trying to do this, but that's not you. And then there's a conflict, and then that's where you get discouraged and you don't see the growth.
Yeah. You want to say anything?
No.
Oh no, you're done. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, I just put my 2 cents a little bit later.
Take your 2 cents back.
I agree with you, and I think that is. That comes down to kind of like a fear, almost like a fear of failure, right? Like where you feel like you need to stay on that line, that any you're veering off. That comes back down to fear of failure, I think. And again, it's like we all. I forgot what I was gonna say, DJ.
No, it's all right. But anyone who is listening to this, like, I would love for it to make a difference, and anyone who's listening to us, and not the fact that, like, go ahead and get coaching or this and a third, but a lot of people might not think exactly the same, but there's some thoughts that people have inside, and they feel like they can't express it, or they can't get out of their own way. So hopefully that anyone who does hear this, like, there's like, it is okay for where you are at now. It is okay to be the version of yourself, even if you want to mimic someone that they're doing, but still be the person yourself. So I took another note on what you said, and it comes back to, is like when you say coop it up inside. So there's things that you leave inside. Like, a lot of people do that. Everyone does that, and it slowly but surely works its way into your brain and parks a spot in your head rent free.
Yes.
It will work in your head. So when you're like, why can't I get this done? That spot is taken by whatever negative thought you had, whatever thing you experienced, and whatever's like, I can't express it because I'm too much of a man to say it.
Yep.
So stuff that's cooped up inside, why I do coaching as well, is like, whether it be coaching, therapy, or mentor, to get it out and to learn, from it.
Yeah. So something I started doing in maybe July or August is something called emotional dumping. So every single day for about 10 minutes a day,
You're right.
I just write down all those negative thoughts, all the negative emotions, anything I'm anxious about or worried about. And as you write it's like your brain just kind of processes it differently, and it's a way to just kind of like you just dumping it out, and now it's there and it's not in your mind anymore. You processed it, and after 10 minutes I always follow up with 3 things I'm grateful for. That way I'm kind of replacing those negative emotions with something positive, and I shift my mindset, and it's had beautiful effects on me.
And go ahead.
Well, I want to add something to that. So there's something I used to talk about a lot in some coaching that I've done.
Well-
One is the understanding of what it is to be a human being.